What's happening, guys? My name is Wedson. Let's talk about early and late game builds for Barrage. He is one of the exosuits that specialize in close combat with the grenade launcher and crowd control the enemies as much as possible. But no matter how you look at it, most of the modules in this game are kind of underwhelming. So you're gonna have to choose the best that's gonna give you the most potential to actually win games. That said, your endgame build for Barrage is gonna look something like this. For your rigs, most likely you will have the blade, which is the best. Anything that you see here, it's gonna be the best that you can choose because of my experience with this character. I've been playing it since the beginning of the game and I stick with it because I like it. And then you're gonna have the blast enhancer, and then for your second slot you can put the lingering threat, and then for your third slot most likely you're gonna use the flare dodge, but you also have another option which we'll talk about pretty soon. However, I know when you start the game you're not gonna have access to all these modules, so let's talk about early game and we'll take it from there. So before we talk about an early game build, let's take a look at the active skills that Barrage has in his arsenal. We have the skip bomber, that's your bread and butter. And we also have the triple threat. This one is actually pretty good and you can burn the enemy, also put a debuff on the enemy, make you and your teammate do more damage to them. And then for the third one, we got the flip dodge. This is very important because this is your get out of jail free cards. You can use the flip dodge as an offensive skill, especially when you use one of the modules that can enhance its potential. And then we have the stun grenade. It doesn't do much damage as you can see on screen, but you know, it is what it is. And then we also have your overdrive. This is your big boy damage or big girl damage that you are going to use whenever it comes off cooldown. Basically, you can see the numbers here. Now, the main thing about this, when I time this, the cooldown, you have 8 minutes if you do not use the hi-xol module. But if you use the module, you can get it on cooldown for like 5 minutes. So it's a difference between a 5 minutes cooldown and an 8 minute cooldown. So if you want to use the modules that we're going to talk about, which is probably one of the best modules, but you will unlock it later on around level 31, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. So those are all the active skills that you have for Barrage. And now let's talk about the early build when you are going through the progression. So for an early build, when you have the opportunity to use the aid, just make sure you use this kind of turns you into a one-man army because you can actually heal yourself and also heal your teammate, especially if you don't have a healer or the healer is away from other activities and then you are by yourself and you're trying to get yourself some health. Then this is a good opportunity for you to use this, and it is a very good one. But later on you'll be able to use other things which we'll talk about. Now, when it comes to the modules, your main goal is to make sure you get to level 4 as fast as possible. That way you can use the blast enhancer. Now, as soon as you get this, make sure you equip this because this is going to be your bread and butter for this character, and trying to upgrade it to level 5 or to the highest level that you can with your big coin. Now, for your second slot, your goal is to get to level 8 and then just use lingering threat. But before that, you can just have some other options. Just fill up whatever you can, whatever you have available to you. And most likely it's probably going to be the crisis module, but you know, just do what you got to do to get to level 8. That way you can use lingering threat. Now, for your third slot, until you get to level 14, you won't be able to use flare dodge, which is going to be your best option between level 1 and 14. But in the meantime, just use whichever one you think is the best for you. This is your opportunity to actually mess around with different modules to see what they do. That way you know exactly what you're looking for. But do not spend a lot of your Bitcoin in those other ones until you get to those levels that I told you. So it's going to be level 4, level 8, and also level 14. Now, I already mentioned the late game build. So your late game build is going to look like this. You're going to have the blade at your disposal. And I think it's around like level 20, around level 20 or something like that. You're going to be able to use the blade. I think level 27 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but your goal is to make sure you get to the blade. So that's going to be your main rig. I know you can use other ones, but to me, this was the best one that you can use for this character. Now, for your first slot, when it comes to late game build for Barrage, you're going to just make sure you have Blast Enhancer. Now, you get this at level 4, like I already mentioned. So as you can see right here, this is going to be your bread and butter. So once you put it to level 5, you're going to have increased ammo and you're going to have an increased blast radius. So you just go to town and then just go get close to the enemy. Being closer in the fray of battle is going to be your best potential as Barrage. So just make sure you upgrade this to level 5. Now for our second slot, you want the Lingering Threat. And as you can see right here for the Lingering Threat, as you can see, you have extend flame duration and you also got a cooldown reduction by 4 seconds. This is the one that you're going to have to use to burn the enemy and also put a debuff on them. That way they can take more damage. Now for our third slot, we are looking for the flare dodge. Now for the flare dodge, as you can see right here, this is what it does. It increase your base explosive damage by 200% when you max this out to level 5. And then you got the increased blast radius, and you also have a chance to burning dinosaurs. So not only you using your Lingering Threat to burn dinosaurs, you're also using your dodge to actually burn dinosaurs when you dodge. Now, beside the flare dodge in your third slot, there's another option that you can consider, but this will not come until level 31. This is going to be your hi-xol compression module. This one you get at level 31, like I said. And as you can see what it is right here, it greatly increases the charge rate of your overdrive. That means for your ultimate, when you have this on, in my testing with or without this module, so it's going to be a matter of 5 minutes versus 8 minutes. So you can choose this if you want, but you don't have to choose this one if you don't care too much about your ultimate. Now we come to the firing range to showcase our skills and abilities that we are using. So let's go and get our ultimate, and then we're going to use this and we go and we detonate. And as you can see, this is going to be your biggest damage, and I already showed you the numbers in the beginning, what you're going to do. But like I said, the time for this, for the cooldown, between 5 and 8 minutes, depends on which module that you choose. And you also have the shuriken. It's one that when it hits the enemy, it kind of, you see what it does to them, it kind of stun them or just paralyze them, give you an opportunity to do more damage to them. And then you have the dodge, like we were talking about. With the module that we choose, you can see it's got some fire on the ground that can actually burn the enemy. So this is a great opportunity to actually use it. You can use it in any direction that you want, but it's a matter of what you are around. There's a lot of dinosaurs, so that's why you're always in the middle of everything. Just that way you can use your dodge and use your explosive grenades to actually do the maximum amount of damage. And then for this stun grenade, as you can see, this is very underwhelming in my opinion, but you know, it is what it is, because all of these skills in this game to me are kind of underwhelming. So that's why you got to choose the best that you can. And then for triple threat, you use this as often as you can. That way you can actually burn the enemy, debuff them. That way you can do more damage. They take damage over time whenever you use this, so you might end up killing them. So whenever you have it, just use it, because it is very good. It's going to help your team out when you actually do this. And then when you're not using your skills, then you have the opportunity to actually use your grenade. Just make sure you're in the middle of the enemies. If you're not really involved in any activity as far as, you know, using a payload or something like that to actually advance your team, then it's the great opportunity for you to actually get close to the enemy, because the closer you are, the more damage you're gonna do. So as you can see, you're gonna have more enemies around when it comes to the dinosaur, the big ones, small ones. So it's just a matter of keep lobbing your grenades, and then this is gonna be your playstyle. But as close as you can, this is gonna be the best potential for you and your character. Anyway, guys, I think that's all we needed to cover. So go out there and try this character, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. This is a very, very good character for crowd control and a lot of fun to play with. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.